New saga has reached the interwebs that was briefly brought up in my conversation. I don't know. I didn't know the details of this, but apparently in New York City, in the subway, a homeless person, a houseless person by the name of Jordan Neely was choked to death for over 15 minutes by a Marine. Apparently, this is apparently the main story that the right-wing circles are hitting, saying that this was totally a just circumstance of someone taking matters in their own hands, not entirely aware of the actions that took place before in the lead up to a 15-minute choke slam session that ended up executing this person. This was Jordan Neely. So what is the video? This isn't the video, I suspect. This is the guy who got murdered. This is Jordan Neely, a hungry New Yorker choked to death by a grinning Marine who is being celebrated as a hero by NYPD and press. His offense, aggressive speech, throwing his jacket on the ground and asking for food and water. Apparently there will be a vigil as well. Shocking video shows New York City subway passenger putting unhinged man in deadly chokehold. The original title, by the way, which is the New York Post, the most insane right-wing drab of all time, was shocking video shows vagrant being choked to death on New York City subway. Vagrant. Whenever I hear that term, when they're referencing human beings, I immediately know. The New York Times is using passive voice reporting on a vigilante choking out a homeless guy. Yeah, because remember what I told you? That it's not just the cops that have lethal capabilities now. It's every average American. Like the average American, especially on depending on who their victim is, also has the same level of lack of accountability. The same lack of accountability that the average cop has. When it comes to killing people, especially if it's an unhoused person. If it's a human being that is homeless, then, that's how it works. I don't want to show you the footage of it, but a homeless black man, Jordan Neely, who was 30 years old, was screaming that he was hungry, had no food, threw his jacket down on the train, and the blonde guy decided to choke him for 15 minutes for no reason. EMS could not revive Neely. No charges have been filed. And the passengers on the train, including the person shooting the video, said the man did not physically attack anyone before he was taken down. Jordan Neely was homeless, tired, suffering, hungry, and unable to defend himself from a violent chokehold which led to his death. His murderer walked out of the police station with no charges. The New York Post is sanitizing white murderers and turning them into good Samaritans. Now, here's the thing. Per ABC7, the 24-year-old Marine who had 2 deployments and knows some MMA moves, admitted to the police that he wasn't threatened by Jordan Neely, but he came up from behind him and put him in a chokehold for 15 minutes. Okay? Video shows a strap hanger. What is a strap hanger? Dramatic new video shows a strap hanger taking matters into his own hands, pinning down an unhinged man in a deadly incident on a Manhattan subway station this week. A subway rider is called a strap hanger? I had never heard that before. Adam Server with a rare good take. No, Adam Server actually does have really good takes on certain issues. If a homeless man makes me uncomfortable, the sentence is death is the kind of public argument that people should be embarrassed to make in public, except no, they're not. I saw a guy overdose on the train last week. A homeless guy on the subway tried to attack my wife on her way to work just a few months ago, thrusting a pointed umbrella at her. There was no one around. There's obvious social disillusion going on, and no one seems to know what to do. You're going to be sanctimonious when people start defending themselves and others, no matter how ill-advised. So, here's the problem, okay? I don't know if those stories are fake. But it's a very common experience, okay? Because we have decided that, we are going to make the housing market unmanageable, and we are not going to provide any solutions to people who are literally living outdoors and braving the fucking elements for years on end, and that trauma and the assault and the sexual harassment that happens to them, and the possible drug usage that you engage in in an effort to self-medicate that fries your fucking brain over the course of many, many years, basically turns you into a walking, living, breathing fucking zombie. And then the government doesn't do anything to interfere in the process other than violent police action. And even then, that's not always the fucking case, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing that that's not always the case, that it doesn't happen regularly. Like intervention happens not often, but when it does, it's incredibly violent. Okay, so do not misunderstand what I'm saying here. Okay, and then we are just like leaving matters into the hands of like random fucking vigilantes. It's great. Wonderful. Very cool. This is going to keep happening. It's going to happen more frequently, as a matter of fact. And yeah, what's the expectation here? Here's Olayemi's take on it.
Incredibly frustrating about New York City is that it paints itself like it's this big, diverse, progressive city. Like, oh, it's a blue state. Oh, the liberals. Meanwhile, I have never seen the level of disparity and dehumanization between different populations of people in my life. Like, just think about this. And this is something I know as both just a...
Same goes for California, too. Los Angeles is the same way with their mistreatment of homeless people. Like, they're fucking, not human beings. Okay?
Black person running around New York, and as a public defender. You will get arrested at the subway station if they perceive you as jumping through the turnstile, annoying somebody on the train. Like, look at the way that they characterize a homeless man with mental health issues because he is acting erratic. That justifies somebody murdering him. Meanwhile, you as a black person couldn't so much as jump on that train for free and let NYPD see you without being arrested. Same subway stations put 1,000 new police officers in the subway station to harass and terrorize the homeless people. Then, once they took them out the subway, they put more police officers on the street to tear up their encampments and harass them there, right? These are the subway stations where homeless people can't even be seen. They can't even stand, talk, do regular, lay down on the subway without being harassed by NYPD. But a white person could walk into that subway station, get on that subway train, and put a black man in a chokehold for 15 minutes and kill him and walk past NYPD and go home and have the New York Post and the New York Times.
You know what's crazy about it? If a cop did that, that cop would not be as celebrated, I think. The expectation, which is not the reality, is that like he's supposed to be fucking trained. So like doing that is like completely fucking unhinged, right? Like, sure, there will still be people celebrating it. People going, oh, dude, that's awesome. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is a vagrant that was dealt with, obviously. But because it's a human vigilante, like a normie, a civilian, people are like, oh, I wish that was me in that situation. Because that same thing happens whenever I talk about like issues that pertain to like existing in public spaces and chat chirps about like their own personal PTSD that they have. Everyone has like, if they lived in a big city, or even if they didn't live in a fucking big city, if they are perceiving what a big city looks like and how fucking violent and how crazy it is, they have this like built-in trauma response where they're not thinking about the individual the confines of that actual incident where like someone was choked to death for 15 fucking minutes. They're thinking about like what they would do in a situation like where they believe that someone is like harassing them or terrifying them. Okay?
And everybody celebrated. This is the same city where black people, where homeless people, where people with mental health issues get harassed and arrested for. But you could kill those homeless people and go home free. This is a sick world. I feel like that needs to be emphasized in a crazy way. It's not just the fact that you could clearly see the media transparently and boldly painting the killer as a hero while they dehumanize the homeless man, right? No. That's not sufficient, right? It's not enough to notice that. It's not enough to notice how everybody in their comments is so excited to see a black man have his life snuffed out. It's not enough to point out the fact that the reason why the police let this white man go is because that white man is acting consistent with the police. Normally it would be the police who would put that man in a chokehold and kill them, but they are so grateful to have that white man take it off their hands and do it themselves. But it's not enough for that. For me, what you really need to point out is the fact that it could happen at all. That in the same fucking progressive city, the same fucking liberal blue state, whatever it is, a homeless person could not be in that subway, could not be on that same subway without having them acting erratic, painted as criminal activity, but the man who killed him isn't painted as a fucking criminal. Ain't that simple?
Yeah.
And it's bad enough that I'm sitting here trying to wrap my head around why Jordan
shit's
Neely
crazy.
is dead. Why we live in a society, in a world that has such a disparity for black people versus for white people, for rich people versus for poor people. If it weren't enough trying to come to terms with the level of a police state that we live in, I look at Jordan Neely and I realize I fucking know this guy. I see the video of him performing in the subway and I'm like, one of my best friends at Legal Aid, one of my other favorite public defenders, has represented him for years. I know this because I remember her showing me the videos of him performing in the subway and talking about how his mother had been killed and how that had deteriorated his mental health and he cannot get mental health resources. But what he can get done is thrown in and out of criminal court. This is America, son.
He was also like a famous subway performer as well. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator with a loving fan base who documented his performance over the course of the years. If he rode the subway in the last 10 years and stumbled into a spry, joyful MJ, it was likely Neely. A year and a half ago, his fans noticed his absence. He's currently missing in New York, and now he's 28 or 29 years old. But he's an amazing impersonator of Michael Jackson, and he's so cute. And I don't want to end his talent. He will come back. I believe that he will rise again and come back to us. If you know him, please pass this channel on to him. I will support him until that time comes. Please help us. The more people who subscribe to the channel, the more he will be known. Jordan Neely, I love you so much. This is from a year and a half ago. On January 2022, a fan uploaded a video of him and asked, where is he currently? And in February 2022 above, captioned, he's currently missing in New York. I believe he'll come back again. Like, but here's the thing. He shouldn't be, we shouldn't expect someone to be a beloved performer in the New York subway lines for you to assume humanity in them. You know what I mean?
Hey everyone, I'm the editor. Thanks for watching till the end. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, then please drop a like and subscribe. Why not leave a Kaya L in the comments down below so that I know that you reached this point of the video? If you'd like more content like this one, then check the video up here on top of my head, or literally in front of my face right here.